run through just a couple of slides on how to configure Burp Suite and Firefox. This is a great opportunity to follow along if you have Burp Suite installed and Firefox installed already. I'll try to breeze through the couple of slides, and then I will share my desktop and do it live as well for everyone to follow along. But feel free to shout out if you are having issues. I think when we start the lab for basically the next hour and a half, if you're having problems, you can screen share with me or something like that, and we can make it work. All right, so as we talked about earlier, Burp Suite is a proxy, so it needs to be configured to sit in between your browser and the internet. And if you have Burp installed and you open it up, you should select to start a temporary project and use Burp defaults. And by default, when Burp opens up, it will start a proxy listening on localhost on port 8080. So if you go to the Proxy tab and Options, you'll see it should be checked for running, and the Burp is now listening and configured to be running on localhost port 8080. And then the next thing we need to do is configure Firefox to actually talk with Burp. And so in Firefox, we do this by configuring a proxy in Firefox and pointing it towards the address and the port within Burp Suite. So if you've installed Firefox, you can just go to the hamburger icon, Preferences, look for Network Settings, and then Manual Proxy Configuration, and you're just going to enter the details of Burp, which is by default localhost, port 8080, and then check Use for all protocols. So let me see if I can fire up Burp in Firefox, and we can all walk through that together. Anyone have any problems getting either of those tools downloaded or installed?
I'm still going through the install process because I guess I'm using Linux and ran it as a shell. So.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, it's Burp Suite is just a Java jar, so it should be fine as long as you have a Java installed on your Linux machine.
In Firefox, you said so manual proxy configuration. You put in the proxy and the port, and was that it, or was there other options?
Nope, that's all you should need. So I am firing up Burp Suite. You should be able to see part of my screen. I'm going to move Burp into this window when it loads.
Okay.
So I pay for the professional license. You'll have community, but it'll just be temporary project. Start Burp defaults is fine. And if we go to proxy options, I can see that Burp is listening on 8080. So the next thing to do is open Firefox. And the hamburger menu icon options should be in general down at the bottom. Network settings, manual proxy configuration, and I'm just going to put what Burp showed me up here. So 127.0.0.1, 8080. I'm going to check this box and hit OK, and Firefox should be configured to talk with Burp. So the next step is, I'll show this. If you have it configured and that you try to go to like google.com within Firefox and just type like google.com, you should notice your browser is actually like hanging. It's not, nothing's happening because Burp is actually intercepting and stopping traffic right now. So if it's configured correctly and you try to go to a website, you should see the intercept tab under proxy light up orange. And we can see that Burp is actually intercepted and stopping a request from going out right now. So we can see here that there's a request trying to be made to Google, and Burp is like pausing it because intercept is on. What we do in the intercept tab, every request that goes out, we can either forward it or drop it, or we can just turn intercept off and Burp gets out of the way and lets traffic flow freely. So if that happens, then we should see a page load. And in Burp, if we go to the HTTP history tab, this is showing us a list of all requests and responses that have come through Firefox since we configured it to use Burp. And inside here, even though we're not stopping or intercepting anything, Burp is still logging stuff for us. So we can see a lot of requests going in and out.
My Firefox is complaining that there's a potential security issue when I just try to go to google.com.
Awesome. So you got that far then. You have Burp configured. This is now what I was talking about with the SSL like decryption. If you try to hit an HTTPS site while Burp is configured, you will see that error. And if you see that error, it's a good sign. It means that Burp is trying to intercept the traffic, but your browser's throwing you a warning because the certificate's not trusted. And so why this is happening, right? Burp Suite is presenting its own certificate to Firefox and saying, I'm Google. And Firefox is saying, no, you're not Google. This certificate doesn't match. So we actually need to now configure Firefox to trust the Burp Suite certificate. So to do that, what we're going to do is go to within Burp proxy options, and underneath where it has the proxy listed, we can actually export the SSL certificate that Burp is using. So we need to hit import export CA certificate. And we want to check this first box of export the certificate in DER format or DIR format. And we'll just save it somewhere. So that certificate has been generated by Burp and it's now exported. The last step we need to do is configure Firefox to trust that certificate. So what we'll do in Firefox is, let me move my slides back over here. If we go to Firefox Preferences, Privacy and Security, View Certificates, and then go to Authorities, Import, select DIR, and then we choose the file that we just exported from Burp, and we check the box to trust the CA to identify websites. So I'll run through that. We go to Options, Privacy and Security. Down at the bottom is Certificates, View Certificates. We go to Authorities, hit Import, and then select the file that we saved. I already have it installed, but in your case, it should pop up and you'll check the box that says trust this certificate and then hit OK. And if you do that and then refresh, you can see I'm loaded a HTTPS site, Google, but it didn't complain. And I was able to see the decrypted traffic in Burp Suite.
Can we do that again? I'm sorry, I had an issue getting the Burp certificate saved, but
Yep,
the steps in Firefox.
Do you have the Burp certificate exported already? So if you have the certificate exported from Burp, you do the you go to Options, Privacy and Security. Then it should be down at the very bottom under Certificates. You need to view the certificates. And then on the tab up here, go to Authorities and hit Import. And then select the file that you saved from Burp. And it should ask you to trust it for HTTP and HTTPS sites.
There's two options on mine. It says trust this CA to identify websites, and then the next one is identify email users.
Yeah, you only need the websites one.
Okay, thanks. Okay, yeah, that's working now. It's taking me to Google.
Perfect.
I had a quick question. Mine's telling me to save the certificate, but it's telling me to give it a file name.
So if you go to Options, Export Certificate in DER format.
Yep. Select file.
Yeah.
I say like desktop, and then.
Yeah, I just called it like burp.der.
Okay.
Yeah, if you don't name it .der and you try to import it with Firefox, it won't see it as a certificate file.
That makes sense. Yeah, so especially on Windows, file extensions matter.
There's a box, there's an options box to show all files, and then you can click on the file even without the extension on Mac.
Hey Ronnie, I got a little lost here. When you went to preferences in Firefox, you said that I needed to enter the proxy that we found. I not totally sure.
So if you're in
do you go to network settings?
Yeah, so it's under General in Firefox, and it should be at the bottom, Network Settings.
Okay.
And then this is what it should look like. I'll leave this up here. So you'd want to do a manual proxy configuration, and then give it Burp Suite's IP address and port.
Okay. And did you also have to port 8080? Okay.
It has to be, yeah, it has to be 8080.
Okay. And I know after that step, I needed to go to options to.
Yep. So once you have that configured, you need to export the certificate. I will show you another way you can do it. That's kind of clever. If you have Burp, or if you have Firefox configured to Burp, and you just type in burp/,
okay.
Burp Suite will load this page for you. And if you click CA certificate, it'll just prompt you to download it for you. It's a little shortcut in Burp. Instead of doing the export, you can do it all within Firefox.
So just save the file?
Yep.
Okay. Does it matter if you do it anyway first?
Oh,
sorry.
I was wondering, how did you rename the file, the DER file, to make sure that it saves correctly?
So if you do it this way within Firefox, if you just go to http://burp and then hit the CA certificate, it should just prompt you to save it already as the correct file.
Okay.
If you do it the other way, when you want to export certificate in DIR format, you just have to, I'm on Windows, so I don't know, it might look a little different, but I can just give it a file name, and you just want to make sure that it ends in .der.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
All I get when I try to go to Google is the little ball bouncing back and forth.
So if it seems like your browser is kind of stuck or hanging, open up Burp and go to the Intercept tab and see if Burp is intercepting and stopping any request from going out. So by default, Burp will actually stop and prompt you for every request before it makes it. And if you see something stuck there, you can actually just toggle Intercept to be off, and then you should see all the traffic start going through.
Wonder what I did different, because my intercept came up as on.
When you launch Burp, Intercept is on by default.
Gotcha.
Yep. So I usually just turn it off. So if you have it configured and working, and say you browse to google.com, what you should start seeing is in the HTTP history tab, a sequential list of all requests and responses that Firefox is now making. And this is, if you've never, taken a look at this type of stuff before under the hood, it's really cool to just kind of see like what's actually happening when you hit a site like Google. Like it does a lot under the hood. So all of these requests that Firefox are actually making, and we can click on any of them and we can see the full HTTP dump of what was sent. And then if we hit response, we can see the full HTTP response that came from the server.
If you're not seeing anything, does that mean that possibly I don't know, I didn't configure the intercept correctly?
So let's see, if you go to a good way to test it, if Firefox is even talking to Burp, can you go to http://burp?
Yes.
Okay, so you are talking with Burp, and if you try to go to google.com, what happens?
Does that have to be in the same tab or just another tab?
It could be a different tab.
Okay, I just go to Google.
Mm-hmm.
I just Google, make a GET request to Google, and there's nothing. It doesn't show me anything.
Okay, so go back to Burp and just check out the intercept tab.
Okay.
So I'll show you if it's on. So if I try to go to google.com and it looks like it's just beach balling, like just loading forever. If you look, my intercept tab is actually orange, which indicates that there's something that Burp is stopping from going out.
Mine is an orange. Yeah.
I just want to make sure that intercept is off.
Okay. First. So just turn off the intercept and then search Google.
Yep.
Okay. I can still go to Google.
It's working?
No, it's not. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still able to go to Google as well.
You should be able to, right? You're saying you're not able to.
You can still go.
You should be able to go to Google now.
You should be able to go to Google, but you should be able to see the Google requests populating in your history.
I think we're both able to go to Google, but then we don't actually see any requests or posts populating in the HTTP history.
I had an issue if I didn't click OK at my network preferences in Firefox. It didn't work. It saved it, but it didn't enable it as a proxy.
How about I do what I'd like to do is maybe just move forward and just get those who are working started on the lab, and then those of you that aren't seeing things, maybe you can just screen share with me, and while the other students are working, then we can troubleshoot them. Does that sound okay?
Sounds good.
Okay. So I wanted to, and this will be relevant too, even if your Burp isn't fully working yet. Couple quick things, just a quick tour of Burp. Lots of features. Don't worry too much about it. The main things that we're just going to want to look at today in the lab is understand that the history tab gets populated with requests, so we can always see what's going on under the hood. If you click this bar, you can filter some of these, and so you can actually like type in or filter, if you want to see just HTML or script tags. And if we go to the target tab, Burp also populates a target tree of every site that it sees, and then you can expand them and see all the requests that are going to that particular target. So let me open up my slide again. Here is our lab, and apologies, I'm kind of a comic book nerd, so this is all Justice League themed. The scenario here for this lab is we are working for Lex Luthor, and our target is to hack the Justice League. And the Justice League just launched a brand new website at https://watchtower.ropnop.dev. So what I'd like you to do, if for all of you that are working or has Burp Suite working, is try to hit this URL in Firefox, watchtower.ropnop.dev. this is our vulnerable web app that we will be identifying some vulnerabilities in and hacking here. If you see the page load and you get prompted with this login screen, that's a good sign. What I wanted to show is, for those of you using Burp, if you notice in the target tab, the sitemap, we now have watchtower.ropnop.dev. This will make everything a lot easier and just filter out some of the noise. You should be able to right click and hit add to scope. And then when it prompts you if you want to ignore everything else, hit yes. And all this is going to do is just tell Burp, stop logging everything that my browser's doing. I only want to just log what's happening on my vulnerable web app here. And then on the HTTP history tab, if you drop down and hit this bar where it says hiding CSS and check show only in scope items, it'll just clear up everything and make it much easier. We're only now going to see requests and responses coming from this vulnerable web app. Following?
Yeah, I didn't get any of that.
So the lab is located at
The filtering part, just the how to filter just for your site.
Okay. Yep. So on the target tab, if you go to sitemap,
all right,
and
okay.
under the screen here, when you see watchtower.ropnop.dev, right click. Now mine says remove, but it would say add to scope.
All right.
And then once something is added to scope on the history tab, you can hit the drop down and check show only in scope items. And it'll just hide like all of the Google data and whatever else your Firefox was doing and only show you this particular vulnerable app.
Where's that drop down?
You see where it says filter hiding CSS? Just click on that bar.
Okay, got it. Show only in scope items. Okay.
Yep. So if you've gotten this far, that's great. You should see just like one or two requests for watchtower.ropnop.dev. And if you click on them, you'll see the requests and responses. And now anything that you do within Firefox, within this vulnerable web app, should populate within Burp Suite. So for those of you that got that far and that's working, this is now fair game. This Watchtower web app has several vulnerabilities. There's a registration bypass, there's cross-site scripting, there's SQL injection, there's CSRF, there's some authorization. So if you're just getting started and like are ready to go, start clicking around, following what's going on in Burp. Make sure you're taking a look at like the code, the actual HTML, maybe taking a look at some of the JavaScript, things that are coming back and forth. And your first challenge is to see if you can actually register and get yourself into the Watchtower web application.
Is there a way to look at the raw HTML in Burp, or are we looking in the browser?
So either way, if you look within Burp, for example, on the bottom tab, we can see the request that goes. And then if we click response, we can see the response that comes back. And so the HTML is located here within the response. Or the other thing that you can always do is in Firefox, right click and view page source, and you'll also see the HTML there.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Who's still having trouble? I'll try to help now. For those of you that have it configured, good hunting. Like I think I had it in the slides. You don't need any scanners or tools. Please don't blast this site and like run Kali Linux and all the tools against it. You should just be able to do it with Firefox and Burp Suite. All right, let me stop
Mine is not
sharing.
showing up either. It shows up. It doesn't show up for the Watchtower when I'm on there.
Let's see. So maybe someone who's having issues, do you want to screen share? And for those of you who are also having issues, maybe we can it's the same issue and I can walk someone through it?
Sure, I can move in this screen
Okay.
share. I was trying to use, this may or may not work. I'm trying to use two monitors, one to follow what you're doing and the one on my own computer. Let me see.
Okay. So if you look, it's a good sign that we're talking with Burp because that page loaded. Your intercept tab is highlighted orange, which says that Burp is trying to intercept a request going out right now. And so everything is kind of hung, like Burp is not letting anything happen because it wants your permission to either forward or drop this. So go ahead and hit the intercept is on button. Let's toggle intercept off. And then go back to, you can keep it off. You shouldn't really need it for the rest of the lab. And hit the, see where it says filter hiding CSS underneath the HTTP history tab? Just click there. It's interesting, we're not seeing anything. So hit show all.
Show all on
down at the
scope.
bottom. No, there's just the button to show all on the bottom there.
Okay.
And then if you click back up at the top, it'll. All right, so we are seeing. So try going now to watchtower.ropnop.dev.
Ropnop.
ROPNOP.
I'm registered into Justice League now.
Hey, congratulations. You're officially a member.
My superhero name is Batman Sucks.
So let's see. Watchtower is working, but for some reason, we're not seeing Burp populate anything. Can you? Is this the same issue that other people are seeing?
Yes. Yes, same problem.
Okay. Are you all on Macs? I'm just curious.
Yes.
Yep. Yes.
I'm on Linux.
Okay. I'm sorry. What's your name? The woman who's sharing.
Oh, Nisha.
Nisha?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, Nisha. Can you let's see on Firefox. Try hitting the little hamburger icon and opening the web developer tools.
Okay.
If you go to web developer at the bottom, and then just web console. Just want to see if there's third from the top. Let's see, no errors. Okay. Can you open a new tab for me?
Okay.
And go to neverssl.com. Can you look in your Burp suite and go up to the top? Does NeverSSL work? Yes, it does. So there's some issue with HTTPS because HTTP traffic is populating in your Burp suite, but HTTPS is not.
Okay.
Do you can you do you remember where you downloaded that Burp Suite certificate from, or where it is? Is it in your downloads folder?
The Burp Suite certificate.
Yeah.
It could be inside here. No, actually, no. It's not going to be inside here. It's going to be inside of my Chrome. Let's see.
Well, I just mean, is it on your desktop or on your downloads folder?
Oh, okay. It's in my application. It should be. So I have it here.
No, the DER file. Look in your downloads folder. Yeah.
Here.
Yeah, cert.der. Can you double click that file for me? There's something we can try here. So we can try adding it to, basically we were telling Firefox to trust it, but now we can also tell Mac OS to trust it too. So under keychain, system, and then hit add. And then if you go to the system keychain on the left,
System keychain. This one?
up at the top with the padlock icon,
Padlock. The login or
the one that says system.
okay. System. Okay, got it.
And then, sorry, under category, you're gonna have to do all items on the left.
Category all items. Okay.
Yeah, so you see the PortSwigger CA there at the bottom.
Yes.
Yeah, double click that. So that is Burp Suite's certificate, and then expand that trust drop down. So that right at the top.
Trust drop down. I got it.
And then under SSL,
okay.
Select that and always trust.
Okay.
And then you should be able to close this.
What's that?
Yeah, I was hoping to avoid having to do this for most of you because you should be able to just, like, Firefox should be able to trust it, but I'm concerned now maybe on a Mac that we have to trust it at the operating system level.
Okay.
And then within Firefox, see if you can
just do a search for Google.
Yeah. Still nothing.
I didn't get a post from Google. Maybe try a different one. Okay. That's all right. I just wanted to kind of see what could have possibly been the problem.
No, I feel really bad here. Let's see. In Burp, on the dashboard tab, are there any logs that we're missing? No, there's no event logs or errors. Give me a minute. Let me see if I can just like find an answer online. I'm not sure why this is.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you actually open up your network settings again? Just let's make sure the proxy is fully configured. So preferences. Okay, there we go. So you have to check that box. Otherwise, it's not doing it for HTTPS.
Okay, got it.
So, yep. For those of you that are still having trouble, make sure that that box is checked. Otherwise, Firefox is ignoring Burp for all HTTPS traffic. And so now try to go back to the watchtower ropnop.dev and reload the page.
Should I expect that one?
Well, at least it's intercepting HTTPS traffic now. So there's still something off about the certificate. So go back to your preferences in Firefox and then go to privacy and security. Scroll down.
Just a heads up, that worked for me.
Awesome. Good, good, good. And then view certificates. And then hit import. And then go to your downloads. And that's CA cert. Yep. And then make sure you check trust the CA to identify websites. And then hit OK. And now if we go back to Watchtower and refresh the page. There we go. And so now within Burp, now you should have everything. If you go to that target tab now and right click on Watchtower at the bottom and hit add to scope, you can select yes. And then if you go to the proxy tab again, back to your history.
Okay.
And if you check the filter drop down, hit the filter button.
Filter button.
Yeah, just it's not really a button, it's confusing. It's that whole rectangle up top where it says filter.
I'm looking for it here.
Yep. And then check show only in scope items. And then no, and then just check the box up top or hit the box up top again to collapse this. or just click away. There you go. So yeah, click away. So now you are all set. So now the challenge is to register yourself and get access to Watchtower, and then see if you can identify some vulnerabilities on this page.
Okay.
One more time, can you go over how to like change the scope and all that? I just kind of got behind a little bit on that one.
Yeah, no problem. Do you want to share your screen? Or I can share mine again. I'll let Nisha get to work.
No.
I got everything except for the last part right there. So if Tanisha stop sharing, I can do a quick screen share.
Hey, can you stop sharing your screen?